Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be comparing the color Alizarin Crimson. Now I have 8 brands to show you. Some will refer to themselves as permanent Alizarin Crimson, others just say Alizarin Crimson. Others will also say Alizarin Crimson Hue. I just gathered those that basically had Alizarin Crimson, because as we have shown over the few that we've done of these, pigment numbers will vary, and that's actually what you want to look at, but also it's kind of fun to compare. So today we will be comparing Daniel Smith, Winsor & Newton Cotman, as well as Professional, Grumbacher Academy, Sennelier, Holbein, Dollar Rowney Aquafine, and Roman Schmal. So let's get started. First, we have the Daniel Smith, which is PR 177. And as usual, I am using the same paper and my silver black velvet brush. Next is the Winsor & Newton Cotman, Alizarin Crimson, PR 206. You'll notice the same pigment is used in Cotman as Professional, but we'll see if they're any different. This one you can already tell is a lot lighter when it's wet on wet. Now we have Grumbacher Academy using PR 83. Very nice. Okay, now we have Sennelier, which is actually a blend of PR 209, PY 83, and PR 179. It's interesting because Sennelier and Holbein are the only ones that aren't a single pigment. Okay, here's Holbein, which is PV 19. PBR 25. I have to say it's a luscious color, but very violet leaning, as it would be with PV 19. Then we have the Dollar Rowney Aquafine, PR 176. Oh, look at that one, it just spreads like butter. Very pretty. We have Roman Schmal, PR 176. It's quite pinkish. Okay, Winsor & Newton Professional, PR 206. Oh, it's beautiful. All right, we'll let those dry and then compare. These are all very beautiful. However, it is crazy the array of pigments you get here. So let's see, we have 2 that you used PR 176, and they both have that very pinkish look. However, surprisingly enough, Dollar Rowney actually is a little bit more richer. Now, none of these were taken from dot cards. These were all taken from either a tube or a pan, because I've had some issues with dot cards in the past, so just want to keep that in mind. PR 206 was used for the Cotman and Winsor & Newton Professional, and to be honest, there's not a huge difference other than when you did the wet on wet. The Cotman really watered down and lost its luster, but when it comes to mass tone, they're an awful lot alike. Grumbacher uses PR 83, and I think that's actually a really pretty color. It has, to me, Alizarin Crimson isn't like a true red. It always has that pinkish tone to it. So it's kind of nice to see that one. Sennelier, it's quite interesting. They call it Alizarin Crimson. Again, you can only put so much into a name. This is one of the few that were a mix, and it's PR209, PY83, PR179, but it has like a rusty finish to it and really isn't something I would consider an Alizarin Crimson color. Holbein, however, comes more off as an Alizarin Crimson, but they use a very unique combo, PV19 and PBR25, so it has a lot more pinkish tone to it. And then we have Daniel Smith, who uses PR177, and it is the richest little red I've ever seen. That said, like I said, I typically picture Alizarin Crimson to have a little bit of a pinkish tone to it, whereas permanent red and such like that I tend to see more as like a red. So if I was going with that more pinkish red look, believe it or not, I actually would go with the Dollar Rowney. And this is like a student grade paint, but I love the way it looks. I love it in mass tone. And I typically paint wet on dry, so this is the color I would get, and that is just, that's gorgeous. I do like the Holbein. I just don't like that it's got multiple pigments. It's always nice if you can get a single pigment paint, just so when you go to mix them, you kind of have a little bit more predictability. But yeah, the Dollar Rowney, I love the way it performed. I love the color. It's just so luscious. I do like the Daniel Smith. I actually have this one in my fall palette. However, I didn't use it because of its name. I used it for its rich red. But I really wouldn't consider it an Alizarin Crimson, in my opinion. The Roman Schmal is just too pink for me. So I really like the Dollar Rowney Aquafine, and then I like the Grumbacher, which is funny because both of those are student grade paints, and here I am like, ooh, I like those. So I really did not like the Sennelier one at all, especially because we have 3 pigments in there. Like, you can do this with one, everyone else has. So, but yeah, I mean, overall, I'd have to say it's kind of funny because I'm leaning towards the student grade ones looking the prettiest and meeting what I would expect of this color. Now, as you can see, this is a color that definitely does not follow any sort of lead with pigments. Eventually, once I get through all of the colors that I can group together with the same name, I'll start comparing actual pigments, and then we'll even go by the pigment number and what they call it. So I'll start comparing, say, all my paints that have PR206 as its, and this will be my single pigment paints only, of course. And it'll be interesting to see what they call them, because I know I have some others that are PR206 not called Alizarin Crimson. So yeah, that will be a really fun comparison to do as well. I think next up will be either Potter's Pink or Lemon Yellow, or maybe I'll dive into a blue. There are so many color names to get through, so I have plenty. So if you want to see a specific one, let me know. I've been gathering up my paints and trying to get things situated, and I am back to filming. I apologize for my delay. We had a lot of family stuff going on, and it was a rough end to 2023, but super happy to be back in 2024 doing these comparisons, not only for you guys, but honestly for myself. It's kind of fun to pull out all the paints you own and be like, wow, I actually had a gem, you know, like a just little hidden gem, like this Dollar Rowney just hiding in its palette, and I haven't used it. Again, the light fast reading on this would not be as great, but still, I really like the color. But yeah, that is it for today's comparison. As always, leave questions in the comments below, and let me know if there's something you would like to see next. I did mention I'm leaning towards Lemon Yellow or Potter's Pink probably, but I'm always open. And until next time, take care. Bye now.